Okay, welcome back to the Passports, Profits, and Pixie Dust podcast. I'm Lindsay Dollinger, and I am so excited for our guest today, Kate Thomas. Kate, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're so welcome. So, I like to start all of our podcast interviews with like kind of the origin story. So, how did you, in your own word, you can start wherever you want in the story, but
Yeah.
did childhood Kate know that she was going to do something travel related? Like how, like talk us through your journey, how you got to where you're doing what you're doing now.
Yeah, I mean, I was always interested in travel in general and wanting to travel, but I had no idea that that was going to be my career. My origin story actually is a 4th of July pool party
Ooh,
in 2008,
okay.
and I was just making small talk with someone and asked her what she did for a living, and she was like, "Oh, I work for this company and we do we plan trips to Ireland and the UK." And I was like, "I want to do what you're doing."
Mhm.
And I straight up stalked them. I called it the stray cat approach. I just wouldn't leave them alone until they let me in.
I love it.
And so that was really how I got started. So I worked for them for a few years, and then before launching North and Leisure on my own, I just immediately fell in love with it. But the next that was in 2008. The very next 4th
Mhm.
of July, I was on my first flight to Ireland. So it just seemed
Okay.
to all come together how it needed to.
Yeah, so you hadn't been before. You just were like, "This sounds very appealing to me. I wanna do this."
Yeah,
Okay.
1,000,000%. And just like it was a gut feeling, I knew I wanted to do it. So I was willing to do anything to get started, and so I did. And yeah, I just got lucky that I like went to Ireland, which is now like a very special place for me.
Mhm.
So when I went, I just immediately felt at home and reaffirmed that this was like
Yeah.
the right decision for me.
Yeah, that's kinda like me with Spain. Like, the first time I went, I was like, "Oh, this is it. Like, this is my place, like, my special,
Yeah,
happy place." Yeah.
it's
Okay,
the
so
best.
for people who do not know what North and Leisure is, will you explain what that is?
Yeah, for sure. So Northing Leisure, we're a boutique DMC for Ireland and the UK. So we work with travel advisors for their FITs all across Ireland, including Northern Ireland and all across UK. So Scotland, England, and Wales. And we will handle anything on the ground. We don't do airfare, but we do
Mhm.
the rest. So all accommodations, rental car, driver guide, special experiences,
Mm.
and package that all up and put it into a proposal for you. And we white label all of our stuff because we like to be a background partner and keep our advisor partners front facing. So yeah, that's what we do.
Awesome.
And
So walk us
short version.
through because I was with a very large agency before I switched and started something of completely of my own, and
Yeah.
they never talked about DMCs. Like, it was all, going through a bigger company or, like, a bigger package where you weren't able to, have that kind of experience. So, for
Yeah.
someone who, was like me or maybe is just getting started, what is a DMC? What kind of services can you and you kinda touched on this a little bit, but, like, walk us through what it looks like to work with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of advisors actually don't know about DMCs, especially coming
Mhm.
in, unless they're specifically working under a host or agency that uses
Yeah,
DMCs, right? We're by nature kind of like a little more in the background in terms of the industry.
yeah.
But the short version, if you've never heard of a DMC, it's just short for Destination Management Company. And the easy way to think of it is we're a travel agent for that
Mm,
destination, right? So you come to us with your client's thing for in general. Some DMCs handle a lot of destinations. Most are like
mhm,
fairly niche with just a
mhm.
few. And so it's kind of two sides of the same coin. I think of, for advisors, it's impossible to know
Yeah,
the entire world at in depth at all times.
right.
And so for you, it's like your side is understanding your client inside and out. And for us, we know the destination inside and out.
Mm,
So when an advisor comes to us, then we put together something for a proposal for them based on everything about their client. So their budgets, their dates, their interests, their needs, all of that. The same way that you're doing an intake with a client to find out all those
yep,
things, that's what we do. And then we use our destination knowledge. So we have an operational team on the ground. We have connections with, all the vendors that we work with. So from experience providers to the hotels, to the driver
mm,
guides. And so we handle things on the ground. And I refer to the way we work with advisors as like a profitable partnership, right?
Mhm.
Because when an advisor comes to us, they've already vetted out that client. We don't work direct to consumer anyways. And that's just like a nice way for us to work. So we prefer working with the advisor market. And then the shortcut for the advisor is that we handle all of that in the background, right? We put together the proposal. Once they say yes, we book and manage all the different components
Mhm.
and send the commission afterwards. When your client's on the ground, we have a 24/7 emergency line that they can access, which is very helpful, especially for Ireland and UK, with most
Mhm.
of our clientele is in the US, so it's a different time zone. So yeah, that's kind of how a DMC works. I know for some advisors, they're more used to seeing like larger tour operators or
Mhm.
group tours. So it's a very different style of planning in general with a DMC. Tends to be like a little more customized and personalized
Yeah.
to the
I
client.
remember the first time I heard about a DMC and what their role was. They were and I was like, "What?" It's kind of like, it's like this is almost like this shortcut of, like, I get to, with my client, do this amazing job while
Yeah.
having, the DMC working in the background doing all of it, and I was just like, "This is a thing. Why did I not know about," like, it was almost like
Yeah.
gatekeeping. "Why are you guys gatekeeping this from me?" Yeah. So do advisors have to get, registered with you like they would with a normal supplier, or they will just go to your website, connect with you, and start an inquiry that way?
Yeah, we're very like easy to work with in that way. Like there are some larger DMCs that have different
Mhm.
systems, so I won't speak broadly on that. But generally speaking, especially working with a smaller company like us, more boutique, no, you don't have to do any registering. You don't have to jump through any hoops. You just reach out when you're ready, and we get started from there. And then when your client's ready to book, the way we do it, and it's kind of like pretty standard now for most DMCs is, we send through a payment link for the deposit. So either you or your client handles that and it goes through, and then you tell us where to send the commission stuff afterwards, and
Nice.
that's it. We just like to keep it moving. For us,
Yeah.
there's no benefit in more red tape and admin of a
Right.
registration, right?
Yeah, yeah. Now, just out of curiosity, are you in the United States?
Yeah,
What
so I'm based
Okay,
in the US.
okay.
Yeah, so I'm in Florida, and then, my destination partner, Christine, she's in the Cotswolds, and we have team, like, across UK and Ireland.
Oh my gosh. So when you
Yeah.
first got started, did you have all these pieces, or have you, like, added as you have grown with the additional, support and employees?
Yeah, no, it definitely has grown. So when I first started, I mean, it was just me for a very long
Okay.
time, and I was, handling everything operationally myself,
Oh my gosh.
and then yes, it was a lot.
Uh-huh.
It was quite a lot.
Yeah.
And so actually it was over COVID is after
Mm,
coming out of the pandemic, that's when things started changing. So I actually had my son in 2021. And then as things were starting to open back up, I was like, wow, okay, things need to change. And of course,
mm,
during all this time, we're leaning on, my peers and colleagues. And so my dear friend Christine, so she was running a separate DMC already called Tiernan Travel in the UK. We had known each other
mm.
we met at like an industry event.
Okay.
And we'd already been like helping each other in the background. It's like, hey, do you
Mm,
have a contact here? Hey, we were
yeah.
friendly for a long time, and so we were like, okay, how do we how
Mm,
can we help each other get through this? And so it took a while for us to find our way, and
yeah.
we've kept our separate branding because we were already established. But yeah,
Mhm.
essentially now I handle sales and marketing and that type of stuff here in the US. And Christine runs the operational team on the ground. And that has been working fantastically for us. So
Yeah.
our growth is now together is has far exceeded what we were doing individually, even if you just
Mm.
combined it.
Oh, that's really cool. I love that. I love a good
Yeah.
entrepreneurial story too. That's why I was like, "Okay, tell us that." And I know you have something entirely separate as well, which we'll talk about here in just a second. So,
Yeah.
for the travel advisor who's listening and they're like, "I would really like to start tapping into, sending clients to the UK." Um, in whether that is, England or whether that is to the Ireland, Scotland area, is there anything, either marketing wise or like what would you recommend? I guess this is a super broad question, so take it however way you want to go. But to maybe a newer
Yeah.
advisor who's wanting to start tapping into this, what are some ways that they could maybe find some clientele to start doing this?
Yeah, for sure. So in general, Ireland and UK, they're very good for it's they're good for a wide range of travelers, which helps make it easier to sell, right?
Mhm,
So it can work for, those clients that a lot of times they maybe have had some family roots there, or it's
mhm,
just been on their list for a while. But it's also really, really great for first time international travel. And so if you have clients that are kind of looking for somewhere, they're ready to like go on that first bigger trip,
mhm,
they're perfect for that, right? Because it's English speaking, it's extremely welcoming, it's easy to navigate, so it has a lot of benefits in that way.
yeah,
And then in terms of like other types of clientele, it's good, like I said, it's good for a mix. I mean, definitely like solo travelers, couples, families. It can work great for a multi-gen.
mhm,
It's nice for we can sort itineraries where we have stuff that keeps multiple age ranges
mm,
happy along the way.
yeah,
Um, and also, like, really outdoorsy. It's great if they
mhm,
like to, like, get outside, get some nature. Of course, there's cities, but, like, most of the countryside stuff, like, you're getting out and about and enjoying nature, and that can be in a very super easy way where you do not have to have any fitness level, or that
yeah,
could be, like, there are options if you've got people who are, like, sporty or
mhm,
adventure-y.
okay,
So, yeah, there's a few nice ways to, like, enter into selling it, yeah.
mhm, yeah. Do you have a lot I was just thinking this because I'm a huge Outlander fan, so it just popped up on my calendar when I was looking, the next season is starting in March. Do you have a lot of people for, like, the fandom type trips? Okay, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we do. It's funny that you say Outlander because I literally I was CC'd in on it on a proposal that went out today
Okay.
that had an Outlander day in there.
Mhm.
So yes, Outlander for sure in Scotland. Game of Thrones was huge
Yeah,
for on Northern Ireland. That's kind of slowed down since it's not,
yeah,
the
ended.
main series has ended. Bridgerton stuff in
Ooh,
Bath, Harry Potter connections is one that comes
mm,
up a good bit. So yeah, definitely a few fandoms in there along the
yeah.
way.
Okay, okay, that makes sense. Now, do you see a lot of group travel or is it more families?
I mean, they're both popular destinations for group travel. For us
Mhm.
personally, we will do it's more multi-gens or small affinity groups, anything custom,
Yeah.
versus we don't do like the set itinerary groups, but they
Mm,
certainly exist. So it can work for groups. It kind of depends on client experience that they're looking for. I'm trying to
mm,
think of how to phrase this because if you had a group client, absolutely, like there's tons of people that could do groups and we could do custom groups. If you're doing a larger group, just something to keep in mind is like hotel wise is finding
mm.
hotels where there's the same standard of room across
Yeah.
can be a little trickier or little more limiting. They do exist for sure.
Mhm.
But that's why sometimes I say I think it works better for like if you're looking at like a big family or several families
Yeah.
traveling together where it's okay that we have a mix of room
Yep.
types, then we have options for properties that have a little bit more of a sense of place.
Yep. Yep. That totally makes sense for sure. Um, I just am like thinking of different clients that I have had over the years where I'm like, oh my gosh, I definitely should have contacted you like figure out all these logistical pieces because I mean
Yeah,
I've only been to England a few times. I've never unfortunately been to Ireland, Scotland yet. My sister's been and loves
yeah,
it. She studied abroad there.
yeah,
But it is so much harder to book these sorts of things if you're not familiar with them. And
yeah.
even going down to like an initial intake call, one of the things that I get asked a lot is there like a minimum budget? So I'm just curious, is there like a minimum budget you recommend for a couple or a family where you could tell an advisor right off the bat, like, hey, if they're saying, 5 grand, that's not enough, or, something like that.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, one of the links that I have for you in the show notes is like we have a pricing guideline broken down by season because I know how often this comes up, and this is
Yeah.
like a really that's a helpful tool for advisors and for us to be able to share. So it's broken out by like a starting price point per person per season, and also if it's self drive or driver guide, 4 star or
Mm,
5 star.
yeah.
So that really kind of splits it out.
Yep.
For this season, it did go up over last season, which is typical, but this one had a little bit more of a jump. Right now, high season, just to kind of a good like starting point on a self drive with 4 stars, maybe a splurge stay and some activities. You're looking kind of around 700 per person per day,
Okay.
just as a kind of starting point there.
Yep.
But otherwise, I mean, there's always flexibility in there. And for those guidelines, just for anyone listening, we keep in mind that that's what we get requested the most,
Mm,
right? Meaning, is it possible to do something a little less? Yes. If you've got a client who's willing to go a little bit off the beaten path or be a little flexible in their dates,
mm.
for sure, there's wiggle room. Um, but if you get the client and you're hearing of the stuff that you know is the most popular, like I want a castle stay, I want to be in Dublin
Yep.
Goodness, I want the Ring of Kerry, then those are the typical
Mhm.
pricing points we're going to
Yeah.
be looking at for sure.
Okay. Okay. Now, what do you consider high season? Like,
Oh, great question. May through September
okay.
is high season. Sometimes some hotels a little into October, but our shoulders seasons generally April and October,
Okay.
and then low season November through March. And in that window, just excluding, of course, like the festive dates,
That's what I
and
was
then St. Patrick's
oh
in
gosh.
Ireland, of course,
Yeah.
big.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, are the Christmas markets, is that as big of a thing in those countries? Because I feel like I hear about them more in like mainland Europe. But is that something travel wise that you see people requesting?
Yeah, we don't do as much festive as I think like mainland Europe gets requested, but we do. There are Christmas markets there, and the way festive works, generally speaking, is for Christmas itself. You're usually looking at a 3 day package of the 24th, 25th, 26th. So we're really picking that property as the destination for those couple of days.
Mm,
And what they're going to do is include entertainment, meals, and holiday festivities. And the reason they do that is because a lot of stuff's closed
those-
on
yeah.
those 3 days. Yeah.
Yeah, I wondered about that. Yeah, yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Okay, well, I would love to shift a little bit into the other way that you help travel advisors. So if you want to share about that business and a little bit about what you do there, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so my other biz is Travel Pro Theory, and that is where it's just resources for travel advisors, and that started um, years ago. When did we start? 2018,
Mm,
and it started just as a podcast, and showing up on Instagram and stuff, and so it's evolved over time. And now I focus on helping advisors use AI in their business to
mhm.
take some things off their plate and get more done so that we can actually, start knocking down those to-do lists that we all have.
Yes, yes. I love how both of your businesses in some sort of way help the travel advisor like be more efficient and save more time. Was
Yeah.
was this intentional or was this just like kind of created out of need where you're like, okay, this is me in my life and I'm busy and I'm going to share what I'm doing with other people?
Yeah, yeah, a little bit of both to be honest. Yeah, so, me with Northern Leisure it was like I was just really drawn into being on the supplier side I've always been on the supplier side of the business,
Mhm.
and I really love it there. Um, and then when Travel Pro Theory started at the time, I don't know if you know her, but Heather Christopher, she's an advisor.
I
She
know.
had co-founded Travel Pro Theory with me,
Oh, okay.
and at the time we were just having so many conversations, just literally like this, talking shop,
Mm,
talking about supplier advisors, how to make these sides of the industry work better together. And then it was my husband's idea actually, because he was like, if you just hit record, like this
yeah.
is a podcast, you just are always talking about it. So we were really just trying to like bring those conversations out
Mhm.
that were happening for us behind the scenes,
Yep.
and looking for a resource we wish had been out there. And but yeah, in its evolution, Travel Pro Theory is like everything it's created it's been a direct reflection of like where I'm at in my life, right? I'm
Yep.
running 2 businesses. I have a 4 almost 5 year old, and like time to waste time.
I feel ya. I feel you 100%. Yeah. So, what are some ways because I still and to me I'm like I've been using AI for it feels like forever at this point. I know it really hasn't been that long, but at least a couple years in my business.
Yeah.
So when I'm hearing travel advisors saying, they have hesitation into using it or, they kind of don't know where to start, I'm like, we just got to start, like we just got to. So I'm sure you are
Yeah.
hearing those same sorts of things. What are some of the easy ways that we can start using AI in our business to save us time and knock some of this stuff off of our plate?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's there's so many ways to be
Mhm.
leveraging it. I think kind of the lowest hanging fruit is like picking your favorite LLM. They're all pretty similar and you get to know one or the other. So I encourage advisors not to get too hung up on which one's better this week or that week, but jump into ChatGPT and Claude, Gemini, any of these. But what you want to do is start training it, because if
Mhm.
you don't, what you're getting is just those default responses. And that's where I think people are like, well, this isn't great. I don't like this.
Mhm.
It's not really helping me out. So it's sort of, you take that just like a tiny bit of extra time up front, like setting up your custom instructions, giving it information about you. I like to think of training AI as the same exact process of anything else you outsource in your business. If you bring on, a copywriter, a web designer, a social media manager,
Yeah, yeah.
what are the things yeah, what are the things they're gonna ask you? Like, who's your ideal client? Who do you serve? What's your brand voice? What's your overall messaging?
Yep.
If you give AI that stuff, then it's gonna be more capable for
Mm.
you to get started.
I love that. Okay, so now I've trained my AI, I've put all of that stuff in there.
Yes.
Now, what could I do first? Like, what's a task I could knock off my to-do list as an advisor?
Yeah, I think the easiest stuff is first marketing. Anything with writing and copy,
Yeah,
that's where I'm like the lowest hanging fruit, right? Get your newsletters, work on your social captions, get some hooks for your reels, get some reel scripts, things like that, that you just need to be kicking out fast.
yeah.
So, and I know I only say this because I have been this person. So I know there's advisors listening who like, well, no, I like to write it myself. It's like, yeah, but if you're taking like an hour per caption, you don't have this kind of time, you
Yep.
know? So run it through there, give it a human edit, but it can knock that stuff out so much faster for you.
Mhm,
And then the other things it can help you with is, I think it's great. Like, I never, ever, ever recommend it for writing an itinerary, right?
mhm.
Like, it can be a confident liar, and it is trained on
Yeah,
the internet.
yep.
So, what it has been trained on is like, it doesn't know the weighted difference between an industry source or like somebody's blog, right?
Mhm,
So this is why I don't trust it for an itinerary and a destination that you don't know well. But what you can do is use it for all those little extra touches that you're adding on an itinerary. So whether that's cleaning up descriptions, it can make your Google map links for you to like
mm,
copy and paste that in. You just pop the itinerary in. It can do all of that for you. It can do a restaurant recommendations that are more personalized to your client. So it's a really handy extra hand for those little extra client experience touches.
yeah.
So those are some of the ways that I think to use it. And then beyond that, if people want to really like
Ooh, up level. Yeah.
scooch in there a little bit, yeah, you could build out custom GPTs and projects that are task specific, but also really starting to dig into some of the other features. Like, I think sometimes advisors are sleeping on like the deep research functions that are
Mm,
in, especially in chat, because you get even on, I believe you get a few even on the free plan now with the credits,
mhm,
and that's where you can have it look up stuff that is pretty detailed for you. You can
mm,
put in a lot of information about your ideal client, for example, and be like, do market research for me and tell me like, more about how to market to this type of client. Help me write a marketing plan for this type of thing. And it will run in the background. Sometimes it takes 5 minutes, sometimes it's 20 minutes. You don't have to babysit it. And it gives you all of its sources and compiles a full report for you.
yep.
Things like that, where you're like, wow, I wonder if I could do some marketing research, or I wonder if I could do a little destination research, right? Like, help me
Mhm.
get to know more about this destination and how to sell it, what sets it apart, what makes it work for my type of client.
Ooh,
You can
okay.
just let AI, like,
Do the
let
same.
it get in there and start, like, shortcutting all of that research for you.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I've never played around with the deep research. I actually kind of forgot about it.
Yeah,
I forgot it
it's
was
just
on there.
there, like, it came out with kind of a little splash and then, like, people forgot,
Mhm.
but it's and I forget it too sometimes because, like, I'll use it for a bunch of things that I have in mind, and then I'm on to different things,
Yeah.
but it's a sleeper one, it's a good one.
Now, that's not in, like, you don't get there by just starting the new chat, right? Is it somewhere else, or is it under the new chat?
It's in a chat, and then you click on hold on, actually, I'll look on chat right now because it's like a
She's like, "Let me."
plus. Yeah, hold on, I'll tell you exactly. Yeah, it's just the plus sign in the chat, like, on the
Uh-huh.
left side under the chat bar,
Okay.
and you click it, and you can go down and, right now it's on there's a few options, and you go under more, and then you just select deep research, and
Okay.
then you give it a prompt, and the way deep research will work is just so take some pressure off of, like, "Well, I don't know what to ask it." You could throw in just like a casual, whatever you're thinking, casual prompt, try it out. Deep research, no matter how detailed you are, if you give it a sentence, if you give it 3 pages, it is trained. It will always ask you at least 3 follow-up questions
Oh, okay.
and then you answer those. So it has a little bit more context and then it zips off and gets to work.
Okay. Okay. All
Yeah.
right, good to know. Now the custom GPTs. Let's talk about that for just a
Mm.
second, because I also feel like that's definitely like a next level step. What
Yeah.
are some ideas of what sorts of custom GPTs that travel agents could be creating?
Many. There's so again, like some marketing tasks, stuff like that. So a newsletter writer,
Mm,
a social copywriter to help with your captions and things like that in your voice.
mm,
I have one that's a lead magnet creator, so it helps me create a lead magnet, then the sign up page copy, then that email
mm,
sequence copy that comes afterwards. Same blog writing. It can do those. It's custom GPTs are really nice to have where it's like you train it once and it can do that task again and again. It doesn't have the same drift that you get in like
a
just
normal.
the normal chat
Okay.
conversations. An itinerary assistant to handle like those things we were talking about earlier, restaurant recs, Google Map links, that type of thing.
Awesome.
I what there's so many,
That's crazy.
so many
Well, and
that you
it's
can have.
it's so funny you said that, because I just normally use like the chat for that, and I'll just search and find the last chat and be like, okay, do that again. But I'm like, I
Yeah,
should definitely create custom GPTs and just, have it lived there. That way because like you said, it does tend to kind of wind
yeah.
off the side. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, every newer model is getting better
Hmm.
and it'll continue to get better over time.
Yeah.
If you ever read about like the context window, that's why there's a drift. Like the AI can only read so far back in a
Oh,
conversation. So the further down it goes, it can like lose track of what it had.
okay.
So where a custom GPT or a project, um, will function more as like you give it it's more like a perpetual prompt. That's a good
Mhm.
way to think of it. Like you give it a very specific instruction set and knowledge base of relevant files and examples. And that way, every time you go in, you're not starting from scratch or reminding it how to do the
Mhm.
task you want it to do. So it's
Yeah.
good for repetitive tasks.
Right, right. Okay, that makes total sense. I'm just curious, out of
Yeah.
your businesses, do you have a preferred social media platform, since we're talking about creating marketing?
Yeah, Instagram is where I hang out.
Okay.
Um, yeah, Instagram's probably my fave. I'm a recent lurker on Threads. I'll say
Oh.
I don't post, but oh my gosh, do I scroll? It
And that's pretty much what I do too there. And then I'm like, okay, I need to just not open this up because I'm not being productive in this app right now. Yeah.
it's so addictive over there right now.
Yes, yes. I know. And I actually I am pretty good at it. Like, I'll kind of forget that I have it because
Oh,
I'm
that's
not on there every day. But no, you're hooked in, huh?
I'm hooked in. I know I need to like take the app off my phone because I do just like wow,
Just go.
look what
Well, that's
everything's
been
going
me
on
with
today.
TikTok lately. I've been a scroller on TikTok, and I'm like, I should really get to start posting stuff over here a little bit more regularly.
I stayed out of TikTok because I just knew. I was like, if I download this, I will lose so many hours. And so I
Right.
just have never, I'm like, don't do it. You can't,
Mhm.
you don't have that kind of self control.
I know. Well, I actually was a little embarrassed last night. My phone it was like 8:30 and I've been watching it every night before I go to bed, which I know is really
Yeah.
bad. And you're not supposed to do that. But my phone, I hadn't done it last night and I was so proud of myself. And then like a notification popped up and it was like basically like it's time for you to go to TikTok. And I was like, stop it. No, it's not, phone. I'm trying to avoid these things.
Man, your phone, it's being an enabler.
I know, I know. I don't know whether to be like impressed or to be annoyed.
Yeah.
Right? Awesome. All right, Kate, tell us actually before you tell us all the way we can work with you, I have a few rapid fire questions that I like to ask my guests at the
Yes.
end, mostly because I'm
Yes.
nosy. So your favorite either business book or personal development book, or you can say which one you're reading now if you can't pick a favorite.
Oh gosh, picking a favorite. Hmm. There's so many where I've taken like little
Mhm.
bits, from over the years. And personal development ones are really more of my jam, but I'll do a business book. I really like, and it's not so much the book, but his newsletter I find very impactful is James Clear. So Atomic Habits, that's a really solid book. But if you want to see a masterclass in
Mhm.
newsletters, his 321 newsletter is,
I do agree. I do love his
yeah,
news. It's one of the
yeah.
only ones that I like regularly will open just to see what the 321 is. Yeah.
So many good gems in there.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
But that is a good book. I will not lie though, I did not finish it all the way. It was a little too long for me.
I mean, I think it's one where you kind of get the gist. You
Yeah,
know what
yeah.
I'm saying? Like
Uh-huh.
it sticks out to me because of his newsletter. That's why I'm always
Right.
like, oh,
Yep.
solid, you
Yep.
know?
Yep. He was genius with that marketing. He won with that.
Yeah.
Morning routine, nighttime routine, neither or both.
Oh, kind a little bit of neither. I don't have like a
Mm,
good solid routine. I'd love to say that I do,
yeah.
but no, the morning routine is like get up, get my son's lunch
Survival.
packed, get him out the door, make a
Mhm.
coffee, get into
Yeah. Yeah.
it.
I like it. I like it. That's kind of how I am too. It's so funny. Like I feel like I have more of a routine on the weekends than I do like through the week, which
Yeah.
is like silly. All right. Trip. Now this I've had to like tweak this when I'm talking to people who are specifically in the travel industry because it's very,
Yeah.
very difficult. So I will say, okay, well, I'm gonna split it into two. What is your favorite trip you've ever been on? Like location or like
Mm.
a reason for it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's so many.
I
There's
know.
so many
I know.
good ones. Ah, that makes it so hard. I would say, I mean, for Ireland, the one I would say, just because like that's like my place,
Mhm.
my most impactful trip there was when I decided to start Northern Leisure. So I like handed in my notice at where I was working and I got on a plane and I met with all the hotels and did all the things. And that was my leap of faith moment because it was like,
Oh,
this is either going to work or it's
right.
not. And we're going to see.
Yep.
So that is always like a, a little very special place in my heart. And then for like a non work related one, right? Like non Ireland UK one. Um, hmm, we had such a good stay, and it probably sticks out because this was a trip right before the pandemic. So, like,
Okay.
right before we didn't know we were
Yep.
going to travel for a minute.
Yep.
My husband and I got away, and we just went to Jamaica, and we stayed at GoldenEye, and it was
Mm,
delightful.
awesome.
And many a time in those months after that, we were like, God, we should have stayed so much
Just stayed
longer,
there.
you know?
We should
Yeah,
have been there when the world shut down and they wouldn't let us come home.
yeah, just like Camp Fair would be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. What is a destination on your bucket list that you have not been to yet?
Destination on my bucket list is to do, well, there's many, but South Africa is on my list.
Mm,
We were planning. I had an itinerary for that ready for our honeymoon,
mhm.
and then we didn't have a long stretch of time when we booked that, so we did like a week and a half, and we were like, ugh, when we do this, we want it we want to have like a couple of
Yep.
weeks.
Yep.
So we shelved it. We did St. Lucia. It was great. But yeah, that's one where it's like, all right, when are we doing it? When are
Yeah.
we pulling this trip back off the shelf? So
Yep. Yep.
that's like a top of the list.
It's so funny you said that. I have a couple's honeymoon I'm planning right now, and they're going somewhere else in Asia. And she's like, "But we want to stop in South Africa for a couple days on the way home." And I was like, "Honey, no." I'm like, "You don't. Trust me. You want to plan
Yeah.
it for another time." I'm like, "It's going to take like a full day to fly there, 2 full
Yeah.
days to fly home. Like, it's not worth it for 2 days." I'm like, "We're going to plan that
It's
trip
so
later."
much commitment.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, "That can be like a first anniversary trip or something like that."
Exactly.
We got
Exactly.
it. Awesome. All right, Kate. Well, tell us all the places we can connect with you. Feel free to divide it too. So, like Northern Leisure's here in this, and I'll link everything in the show notes too.
Yeah, for sure. So Northern Leisure, it's just northernleisure.com is the website. Kate at northernleisure.com is my email. But if you want to just like shoot me a DM, I'm on Instagram at Northern Leisure. That's mostly where I actually like hang and check
Okay.
DMs.
Yeah.
And then for Travel Pro Theory, the same at Travel Pro Theory on Instagram, travelprotheory.com. And that email is just hello at travelprotheory.com. Those are
Awesome.
all the places.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, great, guys. And I will link those in the show notes for you so you can go check it out. Tell Kate hello. Introduce yourself. You have a new DMC friend, everyone, if you did not already. And let's go out there and book some more trips. Thanks so
Yeah.
much, Kate.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's see. Nope. I still don't know how to shut it off. All right. Well, I'll just edit off this end part. Oh wait, click.
Yeah, you're good. And I'll send you links. I sent you
Mm,
Northern Leisure ones. I'll send you links
perfect.
for TPP.
Okay, that is awesome. All right, I really got to figure this out. This is embarrassing. All right, thanks so much. I'll see you later.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay, bye.